Welcome back to Café Guzzi, and as you can see, it's quite chilly in here. But thankfully we have a garage warming device. Yes, I took the Stratus out for a little drive today, so that's taken the temperature up in here with the doors closed to a comfortable 60-something degrees. Right. On the subject of Italian beauties, we are on the Guzzi, and we are removing all this clobber in here so we can get to everything else that we need to be paying attention to. So copious labelling going on here, because I've already forgotten what some of the other stuff is. So we got that labelled, we got that labelled, we got the other end of that labelled. Thoroughly recommend labelling, especially when your memory is as bad as mine. So, yeah, a little cleaned up and also labelled positive minus. Believe me, that's cleaned up. I might paint it. Those I'm going to need to clean up. They're the actual mounting kind of bracket hoop things. Which mount it under the frame there. Although I might shift the coils completely and put them down here somewhere. Depends how much space we end up with for the battery. Next up for removal, our regulator and our rather floppy, dingly-dangly rectifier, which should not be doing that. Anyway, I think I've found a combined regulator rectifier unit, more combined than this, i.e. not bolted together, but actually a combined unit, as is more traditional nowadays. One of those kind of things. Well, I didn't paint it, but I kind of Italianified it, if that's a word. Yeah, cool. So this was on the first coil that we removed, and it's just a shared earth with the other coil that is there. I mean, it hasn't made life much easier because we've got this bloody cross frame thing in the way. But anyway, let's get these out. So there's a mounting bracket at the front here, and that's the one where the bolt's missing, which is why it's all wibbly-wobbly. And then there's two actually in the frame, as you can just about see it. There. And there's a lot of spaghetti. So I think what I'm going to do is actually take this unit off first individually, which will give us more access down there anyway, and see what wireage comes with that. Okay, it wasn't easy. Managed to get this removed from there, having dropped that bracket from its mounts in the frame there. Managed to get to the other side, and that then unplugs. One deregulated regulator. Then we got the rectifier. I might have these the wrong way around anyway, but then we got this boy, which has the regulation, if you'll excuse the pun, 3 yellow wires, power, and probably an earth. So we need to kind of get that out of there in such a way that we can still maintain the wiring and work out what the hell's going on here. Yeah, I think we're going to have to unplug everything. So as I said, we've got our 3 yellows. We've got a red power there on the far end, black wire, which could be an earth, I don't know. This definitely looks like an earth, this green. That comes back into the loom, and then we got these 2 cables coming into it or the frame, so I don't know what they are. I would assume they're power, being red. Alright, we have video documented this, and that will be my reference. And there it is, free and clear. Quite the most crazy rectifier I've ever seen. Very interesting that it's, I don't know, relatively simple in there. The hell, I mean, I don't understand electrics enough to know what goes on in a rectifier, but either way, we're all labelled up. That's all labelled up. And yeah, that's kind of connected. And there was one straggly black doofer Where's that gone? I don't know. It's disappeared. Anyway, it's labelled up. Was that it? No, that's an earth. Nah, there it is. Well, it's certainly given us more access to our oil lines, which we'll be dealing with in another episode. And not really helping much with the other coil that's buried down there. And finally, there's the other coil off with 50 years of grime on it. Having removed the other coil, the bottom coil, we've got access to the oil lines down there. Looking at repositioning the coils, as I mentioned, kind of like the idea of them being here, side by side. As you can see, I'm already repositioning other things here. And that, of course, all depends on the size of the battery. Hopefully slightly smaller than that monstrosity. More along the lines of those, we would hope. Yeah, but the trouble is, I think it needs in the region of 350 cold cranking amps, which is a tall order for a motorcycle battery. But when that's the size of your starter motor, it's no surprise. Anyway, getting back to the coils, I don't see any real reason for not being able to mount them side by side on the frame. Up here at the front where we've got plenty of room. All depends again on what fuel tank we end up with. But that's kind of the conventional place for coils. A la Kawasaki, for example. One either side of the frame. Not under the, well, I mean, yeah, under the frame there. That would be the equivalent of mounting them right here. Don't really want to do that. The only other issue with repositioning the coils, of course, is the HT lead, which currently ends up here. So to stretch it further forward would be complicated. That's the original top mount there. To bring it back here actually would work quite well with both of them. Here's the other one. Already back there. So maybe something like that will work side by side. Depends on the seat, which is winging its way here from California as we speak. So hopefully that'll arrive and we can see if there's any room under there maybe. It's another conventional place to smuggle electrics. Also on the electrics front, I have found a new replacement rectifier. It was advertised as a regulator rectifier, but after some clarification with the vendor in the UK, it does appear to be just the rectifier. Anyway, it's a lot less archaic looking than that, made by Hitachi, and I guess that means we might have to stick with separate units. I mean, you know, essentially they don't need replacing. They both worked before I took them off at least. But that rectifier looks like positively toast. And there's an abundance of regulators online used. Don't know about new. Haven't tried that yet. But that one should work anyway, right? So I guess we better clean this up a little. That's that sorted. Well, I've ordered the new rectifier from John in the UK. John Smith, for all I know. So that is scrap. As are those. But I might hang on to that just in case I need it. Here's the wiring for the rectifier and regulator, and of course it comes off the stator up the front there, and because of its original location up here, it's pretty short. I'm thinking I might like to move it, just for the hell of it, just to keep it less crowded up that front area. And I think I might have found the perfect location for it. Yeah, in there. I think they'll both fit once we get the new rectifier as well. Obviously we'd want to keep the original plugs here, so it would mean chopping all the wiring here And then I think doing one about feeding it through, actually in the frame, and popping it out either side, whichever side we need. I think we could do it quite easily actually. We could drill a hole straight in the front there. Alright, feed that big thick wire through there, because it's going to be 6 or 7 wires, and then pop them out there somewhere. Yeah, so that's an idea. So I'm going to start piecing that extension wiring together for the rectifier and regulator. We have wireage. We have more wireage. While I'm doing that, and while we're waiting for our new rectifier to wing its way over the pond from the UK, I think we'll call it a day. So if you haven't already, please subscribe down here somewhere, and of course give the video the thumbs up. I do appreciate you tuning in and would love to see you again. Well, oh yeah, encourage others to watch my lunacy.